Daddy, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you. May we meet you, sir?
My name's Joseph Kafanchan Abunadka Lewa.
I read a little about you. I realized that you've written several books, and one among the most famous books now that is trending is this book. And it's titled The Nature and the Structure of the Pre-colonial Eggon Society in Nasarawa State, Nigeria, and the Survey of their Influential Literature. Very rich and sound book. Thank you very much on that. Daddy, I know that the Eggon people have had fierce encounter with the British forces when they came. Very fierce, according to the history. And it came to our knowledge that Eggon people is the only tribe that were not conquered, except maybe in 1912 or so. I can't remember exactly when the British eventually brought us to a certain control because of certain things, the certain system they want to actually impose on us. Can you discuss in brief that encounter with the British forces?
The encounter of Eggon with British forces was a very, very strong encounter. When the British, when it was all about mining.
Okay, mining.
Mining. It started with Engineer Campbell and his colleague, who was putting pegs with white cloth.
Okay.
The issue of ownership of land arose. When it came, the Eggon people could not allow their land to be taken by the British. They said they were going to take their land. They didn't know that they were looking for mines.
Oh, the Eggon people didn't know. The British people were only looking for mines.
Mines. But you know, incidentally, if they get the mines, the place has become their own. So Eggon people did not want that. They stood firmly, they fought gallantly. They could not be conquered.
Wow.
Until around or thereabout 1912, when the British people conquered them, the Eggon people surrendered.
That was because they had more superior weapons against the Eggon. Because I know the Eggon people are warriors. They fought with spears, bow and arrows.
They use all sorts of war
influence
materials to defend themselves. And Engineer Campbell thought that all those things were rubbish. And then when they saw Eggon in a mob, in a group, coming to fight them, Engineer Campbell did not run, but his colleague ran to Wamba, which was their headquarters.
Okay.
So Engineer Campbell thought that he could use his gun, which he thought was superior weapon. But unfortunately, he was killed. So it is there that Eggon people were brutally killed indiscriminately, anyhow, including those who ran into caves. They killed them there, and they could not survive. If you go to Woko,
yes,
the grave of Campbell is still there.
I've been there twice, and I saw how the Eggon people buried him. They just stacked stones, piles of stone, heap.
Yes.
Like that.
Later on it was repaired. It was modernized.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
It was modernized. And it's still the grave is still there. Yes. Those ones that were killed in the cave, it was because they said a baby cried from the cave. So the British people just put bomb inside the cave and killed about 179 people.
179 died in one. No wonder I learned that the blood was rushing through the valleys of the Eggon, through the water, the track where the Eggon people drink water.
Yes.
Land for close to a month.
That is
they couldn't have clean water to drink.
That's correct.
Because of the blood of those people that were killed.
Now,
the cave where the Eggon people were actually killed, is it still there? And is there any historical significance? Because if we have 172, 179 Eggon people that were killed, brutally killed by the British, we need to have something like a monument to remember these people, instead of now you're talking about us having the grave of the Campbell, the white man, still in existence. It's now a historic site. I think it is good that the Eggon people also have a historic site for 179 people that died. Has something been done on that in that regard?
Actually, nothing happened. They couldn't remember to do anything for history. They just killed them, and dead bodies were not even removed. They couldn't have entered the grave.
The cave.
They killed. So there's no enough historical evidence to show that this. Even we put it at estimated 179 people were killed.
Based on family head count.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes,
but I think it's not late. I think this generation, people can think of, if the cave is still there, they can put up something very significant to remember that brutal act of the British to the Eggon people.
But when we search documents from the archive,
yes, sir,
can bring out issues that you are talking about now. You know, Eggon people were not literate. They were hunters and gatherers. So they couldn't keep records of some very important events which they should remember.
But can we still find that cave? Is the cave still traceable?
Yes. If you go to Wilco,
yes,
you will see the cave. If you go to Wilco, there is a cave. There is a place that will take you to where they kill people. The cave is still there.
Okay.
It's yes, young people like you can still find out.
Go on expedition.
Yes, you can still find out.
Okay.
But you have to go to various places like UK, because most of these things were carried to the overseas.
Yeah, in fact, I got to realize that this issue was discussed in the House of Lords in UK.
Yes.
And it brought a lot of confusion among them. Some were voting that what the British did was right. Some were voting against it. that what they did was wrong and stuff like that. But those materials, we may hardly have them. Traveling to UK, well, technology, there's nothing technology won't be able to do. Well, thank you, sir. Moving further, I don't know the historical perspective of the Eggon settlement in the current Lafia day in Nasarawa State. I don't know if you can enlighten us on that, because most of the communities surrounding Lafia are Eggon communities, and it is only Lafia town that you find others. But we will appreciate if you can tell us more about the historical settlement of the current day Lafia. It has to do with the Eggon people.
Yes, the historical settlement of Lafia is pathetic because Lafia was, first of all, the settlement of Eggon people. You have tribes like Wilko, Kindu, and the rest that Kanuri people came and met them.
Okay.
They absorbed them.
The Eggon people absorbed the Kanuris?
No. The Kanuri people, they were stronger. So they turned them into slaves, and then they absorbed them as slaves. Some of them became house servants. And there is it's not war. There is the issue of Eggon people forming a part of Lafia's settlement. It's Kanuri. Due to those people, they absorb. So they are part and parcel of the Kanuri people. Still there are some Lafia tribes that their mothers are Eggon people.
The Kanuri people?
Yes.
They have absorbed some Eggon people who eventually now claim to be Kanuris.
Yes.
Some of the aged mothers of the Kanuri people are actually our daughters, the Eggon, who married the Kanuris in Lafia.
This existence is still there, whether they like it or not.
Wow.
The issue of Kanuri people absorbing the Eggon people when they came is very strong. And they said they form a part of the dynasty. Because when they came, they absorbed them. They couldn't do anything other than to make them a part of themselves. So they are there.
So, Daddy, what are your parting words? Maybe words of encouragement to the entire Eggon nation, or those who are in love with research work such as yours? If there are certain words you actually want to say, you can say that to us.
First of all, let us recollect that Eggon people have what we call
Abibili. Yes.
Ghost.
Or jinn or something.
They said they believe that it was God. These Abibili are not all that bad. That God brought them to teach us how to make food out of the crops we are harvesting, to teach us how to use certain leaves to cure ourselves if we are bad, ailments. And they talk of
Ayahu.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is talisman or something like that.
Okay.
That is if they make, they're going to live that this Agboyawu work, but if they stay too long, unless they revamp them, they will become stale and they wouldn't work. They again talk of apparition. Apparition means ghost that rose from grave after death. Apparition.
Okay.
They believe that human beings, when they die, they get up, but they are not sure whether after 2 days or 3 days, and they change their living places, living settlements.
Does that has to do with reincarnation?
Yes, something like that.
Okay.
Yes. So all sorts of things like that are existing in Eggon.
There was a story I learned, Daddy, that our foreparents, when they were farming, sometimes they will meet, our people when they're hoeing and they're going like that, sometimes they will meet a sort of sand that looks like ant hill, but this time around no ant lives in it, on the ground. By the time they hit that, you hear them say, I'm a true blue. They're trying to say maybe somebody who died and was actually doing evil or something, and he couldn't reincarnate properly, and then he turns to become that thing. the mets on the ground. I don't know how the story is. Maybe you can just throw light on that. If that has to do with the reincarnation and of the good people and of the bad people.
I'm not very, I don't have in-depth knowledge of that.
Okay.
But they exist like that. They make it well known to people that such things exist. And they always try. It is now that they are forgotten about all these things. Otherwise, they still exist. See? And the issue of modern changes that are taking place since the modernization came. The issue of people going to the farm, and then some people will just fold their hands and take away their food. All sorts of things like this go on. They are still going on. Okay. So, my own parting, what is, there are certain issues that we should learn. Eggon people are reluctant to imbibe the modern system of life. They are still in their own village areas and then practicing their demonic things, practices and so on. But it is not this day. Eggon people should realize that things like this should be dropped. And young people should be able to engage themselves in reading, engage themselves in changing according to the modern changes that we are getting now in the society.
Mm.